Welcome back to the Money and Wealth Show. I'm Sterling Fox. Our special guest this week is bankruptcy trustee Harold Saunders. And Harold, just before the break, we were talking about, you mentioned it, a black mark, if you will, on your credit record when a person hits the wall, has financial difficulties, has to file either a consumer proposal or go the full bankruptcy route. You said a consumer proposal will stick with you on your credit record for 3 years. How long does a bankruptcy stick around on your credit record?
Well, it's 3 years after full performance. So if you have a 3-year proposal, and you can do up to 5 years of payments,
okay,
then it's 3 years after that.
Oh, I see. After you've discharged your obligations.
Right.
Okay. How about a bankruptcy?
Bankruptcy will be 6 years. For a first-time bankrupt, it will be 6 years after discharge. And if you've been bankrupt more than one second time, for example, 14 years after discharge.
Bankruptcy is associated with a social stigma. It's seen as a public indication of ineptitude. You blew it. You tried. You couldn't cut it. You couldn't move with the pack. For a person facing serious financial issues, it's a pretty bleak prospect out there, and bankruptcy looks like the very bottom of that terrible pit. Is it all as bad as people seem to think it is?
No, it's not. The reason for a Bankruptcy and Insolvency Act is to help the fortunate or unfortunate debtor who got themselves into financial difficulty and they just can't get out of it. So the legislation allows people to get a fresh start, a new beginning. Yes, the thought of even doing anything where you don't pay your debts in full and whatever could be horrendous for many people. However, people do begin to build their lives up again. They get a new beginning. Businessmen who have been bankrupt at one time have become very successful businessmen afterwards. The problem you're having is a lot of people, those of us in high school, whatever, there was never any credit counseling or whatever to help one get through it. If an individual goes bankrupt or does a consumer proposal, which are debts under the $250,000 level, they are required, it's mandatory now that they attend 2 counseling sessions. The first session deals with basically use of credit, cost of credit, budgeting. And it's very important. We work with them. We work through we actually, from the day they walk in our office, we begin working with them. Because we have to prepare a budget for the official documents, whether it be a proposal or a bankruptcy.
Okay.
So we sit down with them.
The process requires a budget.
And if we see they're spending $3,000 a month, we're bringing in $1,000, we sit down and say, where's the money coming from?
Right, right.
Then there's a follow-up session because we want to monitor them, how they're doing through the process. And basically, many people who come to see us have many problems, such as they're involved in alcoholism, some of them, substance abuse, self-defeating relationships, marriage breakdowns. So we try to guide them and to encourage them to get help, because if they never get help, they'll be back to see us a number of years later.
And all of those issues that you've just described, none of which are any fun at all, are exacerbated by angry creditors sending you nasty notes and making threatening phone calls and really making a person or a company's life miserable as all get out. And this is a technique or a process by which a lot of that ugly stuff can be made to go away, right?
Well, the moment you file an assignment in bankruptcy or go bankrupt, or even a proposal, a stay of proceedings, really, I describe it as a Star Wars wall, comes down between you, once the creditors know about it, you and your creditor, even if they don't know yet, you can tell them. And except if there's some fraud issues where creditors can go get a special order of the court while you're on discharge or go later on, to say that the debt will survive a bankruptcy.
But in most cases, that's not
the case.
Okay.
So there is basically a stay of proceedings, as we call it legally, or basically the wall, and your debts are not eliminated yet, but it stops those harassing phone calls. It will stop the letters. It will stop any court actions. For example, if you're about to be sued, we file the document in court saying, and tell the creditors, or if there's garnishments out there. If you're having creditors garnish your income, or even CRA garnish your income, we stop it.
So things level off.
Level off, and now we can now put the pieces back together to see how are we going to solve the problems.
It is our hope that these financial issues never reach you or affect your life personally. However, more and more British Columbians and Canadians are indeed suffering serious financial issues in their lives, and we've been very grateful to you, Harold, for dropping in and allowing us to have a look at the fact that there is hope. It isn't the end of the world, that there are means by which individuals can better their lives, settle the score, and move on. And for those words of encouragement, sir, we are very grateful, and we thank you very much for joining us on the program this week.
Thanks for having me on, and it's been my pleasure.
We'll be right back.
Good afternoon. My name is Larry Ray. I'm the Chairman and CEO of Molycorp Gold Corp. As the name states, we do have a deposit we're developing in British Columbia, which is a pure molybdenum deposit. But our focus these days is on magnesium in Nevada. Through serendipity, we discovered a large deposit of magnesium running about 10% with a high purity and consists of about 256 million tonnes at this time, 52 billion pounds. Our main emphasis is to move this project forward by beginning a drill program later this year in which we can increase the integrity of the resources into the indicated and inferred, as well as increase the resource itself. For further information, please visit our website at molycorp.com or phone us at 604-531-9639.
Tax Tips with David Ingram.
Are you a 65 or 70-year-old with a younger spouse? Male or female, doesn't matter what it is, because we have pension splitting in Canada now. So if you're over 65 and you've got a pension, or if you're 60 and you've got a pension, you've got a spouse that's 10 or 12 years younger than you, you can split your pension with them by filling in Form 1032, 1032. And when you do that, the spouse picks up an extra $2,000 pension income deduction, and they pay tax on that split pension amount at a lower rate. That's a tax tip from David Ingram.
And that's our program for this week. Our thanks to David Ingram and to our special guest, Harold Saunders. And thank you for joining us. If you have some thoughts about today's show that you'd like to share with us, please send them along to comments@themoneyandwealthshow.com. I'm Sterling Fox. See you next time.
Comments made on the preceding paid commercial program are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any manner whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time.